Good evening and welcome back to Be Rich. Japan has stunned the world markets by a move that would finally take out the last central bank, which is following an ultra loose monetary policy. For long, Japan wanted inflation, and finally, it seems it's getting more inflation than what it requires. And because the consequence of an ultra loose monetary policy has meant that the Japanese yen crashed to an all time low of 150 yen. From there, it has recovered to 134 yen. And the move yesterday came because the Japanese central bank, in a shock announcement which shocked the market, announced that it would allow 10-year bond yields to move in a range of zero point 0.5 and on either side of the rate. What does this mean? The Japanese central bank has always maintained that the 10-year bond should be at 0% with a fluctuation of minus 0.25 or plus 0.25, and the central bank working to keep it zero. Now, what they have said is that the rate will still remain zero, but the fluctuation band has been increased from minus zero point 0.5 to plus zero point 0.5. Forget it, there is no way it's going to be minus zero point 0.5 when the rest of the world is running such a tight monetary policy. And immediately, the Japanese yield jumped and moved towards that score. The Japanese central bank is the bond market. Unlike other bond markets, where the central bank can only push the bond market to a certain level, in the case of Japan, because of its ultra loose monetary policy over the last several decades, it has become the bond market. Why do I say that? Because more than 50% of all Japanese government bonds issued so far are owned by the Japanese central bank. That is the kind of money they have pumped into the system, hoping for inflation, which they never got. But Japan is not immune from the rest of the world, and therefore, squeezed with a low yen and high cost of import, especially food and fuel, real wages are being taxed, and they have not yet gone up. But it is clear that they will start to go up soon, and the Japanese central bank will have what it wants. And therefore, there is pressure on the Japanese central bank to cool interest rates. The Japanese central bank under Mr. Kuruda wants to maintain a loose monetary policy. They want to keep the overnight interest rate at minus zero point 0.1. At the same time, they said they will not interfere in the market if the bond rate swings both ways at between minus zero point 0.5 to plus zero point 0.5. This means effectively you are resetting the yield at zero point 0.5. That means the Japanese central bank will not buy bonds if it is in the range of 0 to zero point 0.5 and will buy only if it crosses zero point 0.5. And since there is a positive carry trade, the traders will push the Japanese central bank to accept a higher interest rate. And if the rates goes to 0.75, then the central bank has to interfere to keep it between zero point 0.5 and 0. Before, the rate limit was only at 0.25 and the intervention would have been more sharper. This had an effect in the overnight currency market. The Japanese yen has surged. It has surged today, but surged 10% from its low of 150. It is now expected that the surge in the Japanese yen will continue and will be there till it reaches eventually 120 and imported inflation cools down. Finally, there is some sign of reprieve for the Japanese as growth and inflation returns. Japan has been struggling for several decades with low inflation and has created printed money like no tomorrow to such an extent of the entire bond market. More than 50% of Japanese bonds are owned by the central bank. That gives you a rough idea of how tough it has been for Japan to keep this policy going. That is, the central bank has to print or monetize half the Japanese bond market, especially government debt. For 2 decades, Employees have not asked for a major raise because it has been very difficult going and capital has got away with it. The balance between capital and labor vanished, and the knife fell on that of the labor, whose share as per capita income, whose share as per in total income in GDP has continued to decline. Therefore, the policy of tightening for a change or light tightening for a change has sent the yen skyrocketing. This may also not mean that the dollar would weaken against the yen, and also imported inflation in terms of crude oil and others may come down. This also indicates to us that the Sino American ties are not going to get better any soon, and the Japanese electronics chips makers are going to be enthused by it. Japan is a curious case indeed, with property and real estate prices not going up in several decades. So, these kind of ultra loose monetary policies have finally managed to bring Japan's economy back in shape. And also, the pressure from capital flows has taken its toll on the Japanese central bank. There is another school of thought which says that Kuroda would not get an automatic extension next year and therefore wants to clean the state for his successor, who can start with a clean state, especially in the fixed income sector. And therefore, we have to wait and watch when the Japanese government announce who is going to be the new central bank and how much of notes he is willing to print to support the Japanese central government. Thank you for watching Be Rich. If you like this content, hit the like button of my channel, push the subscription, and turn on the bell notification. If you miss the bell notification, you will not be notified every time we put out a video. I have another favor to ask. Kindly forward this video to your friends and relatives and persuade them to see it. Thank you. Jai Hind. I want to thank all of you for supporting our event in Oman with great enthusiasm. A lot of people turned up in Oman, and a place where I don't have much influence. I wish to thank all of you for your support. The next event is going to be in Qatar, Doha. The event is scheduled for the last week of January. Those who would like to meet me in person in Qatar, Doha, or come to our event in Doha can send their request to the mail ID given below or contact the WhatsApp number flashing on the screen. My team will respond to you. See you in Qatar in the last week of Jan. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.